Welcome to this Hope to Go. Today I want to talk to you about enduring life's storms. Have you ever experienced a really dark time in your life? A time when things just did not make sense? Mark 6:45-52 records just that kind of time. Jesus had just fed 5,000 people with 2 fish and 5 loaves. The crowds were going crazy to make him king on the spot, and his popularity was soaring. And with all that excitement, Jesus tells his disciples to get into the boat and go to the other side of the lake. Listen to what Mark 6:45 says. Immediately after this, Jesus insisted that his disciples get back into the boat and head across the lake to Bethsaida, house of fish, while he sent the people home. They ran directly into a storm. Now, the Sea of Galilee is notorious for its storms. It's a small body of water, and sudden and violent storms are very common. But this day, these skilled fishermen were terrified, believing that they were going down for the count. Can you relate? Let me state the obvious. No one is free from storms and dark days. Now, everything may be going great, but it just takes a split second. Maybe you lose your job. The phone rings and some bad news comes in. You have a routine visit to the doctor, and he says you've got a sickness that you have to battle with. You're in a storm. Mark 6:46 says, after telling everybody goodbye, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. This is very important. Jesus is praying for you right now. Hebrews 7:25 tells us, therefore he is able once and forever to save those who come to God through him. He lives forever to intercede with God on their behalf. Child of God, no matter what you're going through, I'm here to declare over your life, there is a God assignment on your life. And whatever the storm, God wouldn't bring you to it if he wouldn't bring you through it. Let me give you some hope to go truth of getting you through the storms of life. A, stay in your faith. This is very important. You got to write this down. Mark 6:49 says, but when they saw him walking on the water, they cried out in terror, thinking he was a ghost. They were all terrified when they saw Jesus. Jesus allowed his disciples to go into a storm, to refocus their faith on him. And he's doing the same for you and for me. Romans 12:3 says, for I say to them, through the grace given to me, to everyone who is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly as God has dealt to each one a measure of faith. That is supernatural faith that God has put inside of you, that if you'll stand on that, God is going to bring you through what he has put you and allowed you to go through. I want you to understand, don't be afraid. Jesus said, take courage, I'm here. Then he climbed into the boat and the wind stopped. His word carries power, it carries assurance, but it also is a reminder to focus on the bigger picture. Because finally, see, you got to remember, God has placed something in your boat for victory. Listen to Mark 6:51. He says, they were totally amazed, for they still did not understand the significance of the miracle of the loaves. Their hearts were too hard to take it in. Jesus had just fed 5,000 with a little fat boy's lunch. 2 fish and 5 loaves. And then he said, pick up the scraps, put them in the boat, go to the other side. When they were in the boat, they had the reminder of a miracle with them. So Jesus was going to pass them because he didn't have to be with them when they know that he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Jesus is the God of the impossible. So you're going to endure your life's storm, and that's your hope to go.